Hello and welcome to this demo on string manipulation. In this video, we'll learn about string manipulation through an example that's often encountered in a great variety of business scenarios. We'll see how we can use string methods and properties to extract information from an input string and compose an output string. Let's begin. Let's consider the example of a process that consists of two steps: extracting an address from an application and entering it into a different one. To keep things simple, let's call them Application A and Application B. Application A displays the address as city name, street name, and street number in a single field, but Application B can only store this information in 3 different fields. The solution is to employ string manipulation methods to isolate the items, namely city name, street name, and street number, and then input the result in Application B. Let's consider another example for our demo. The project that we create will extract information from an input text and output it in a different format. The application generates an input string that searches for a specific writer and finds the bookstores where their works are available. The input format is: you searched for author X. Their books can be found in the following stores: Bookstore 1, Bookstore 2, Bookstore 3. After the execution of the workflow, the expected output format is availability for X, Bookstore 1, Bookstore 2, Bookstore 3. Ready to find out how we can achieve this using UiPath Studio? Great, let's start. We'll create a new project and call it Strings Bookstores Demo. Next, we'll add a sequence to the main workflow and name it Bookstores Demo, and add an annotation as well. We're ready to create the first string variable. We'll use it to store the initial message. We can add the message as the default value, or we can use an assign activity to determine the content of the variable. Let's go with the second option. We'll name this activity assign initial message. We'll add the initial message variable to the to field. Next, we'll open the expression editor for the value field, and we can simply copy and paste our input string. Let's make sure that we place it between quotation marks. To extract the author and the bookstores from the string, we'll create 2 variables. One of type string called author, and another of type list of strings named bookstores. Time to extract the author. We'll use another assign activity and name it assign author. Let's add the author variable inside the to field and add the following expression in the value field. Now let's take a moment to understand the methods that we're using here. First, message.split divides the message into array items using the period character as a delimiter. There are 2 period characters in the input text, thus splitting the initial string into 3 array elements, the last one being empty. The author's name can be found in the first element. We'll use .first to retrieve the first array item. Now, since the result is an array, we'll convert it to a string that can be split further, hence the .toString method. So far, we've isolated the first sentence. Next, we'll use the substring method on the message variable. Note that the message variable now contains only the first sentence. This substring method receives a substring from this instance. The substring starts at a specified character position and has a specified length. The starting position and the length are specified as the arguments entered for the method inside brackets and are of type int32. If only one int32 argument is provided, the substring starts at a specified character position and continues to the end of the string. Our example falls into the second case, as the expression entered as an argument for the substring method returns a single int32 value. The index position of the space character right after the word author in our sentence. The name of the writer is found after the word author. The last index of method retrieves the index at the beginning of the last occurrence of the provided string. So we'll add author.length to retrieve the index after the mentioned string, followed by .trim to remove any white spaces from both ends of the resulting string. In the end, all that's left is the name of the author. Okay, let's pause for a moment to make sure that we're ready to move on. We added our initial message, we assigned the author and used a split method on the data, and we assigned the bookstore list where we used a different split method. Great! Next, let's process the bookstores. We'll add one more assign activity to the designer panel and write a new expression that extracts the bookstores from the input string and then adds them to the bookstores list. First, we'll rename the activity to getBookstoresList. Second, add our list variable inside the to field. Third, let's write the expression in the value field. The split method turned our string into 3 distinct array items. Nothing new here. One is the index of the sentence that we want to extract. Remember that array items are 0 indexed. The sentence is then turned into a string and split once again using the colon as a separator. The last element of the resulting array contains the bookstore names separated by commas. .last retrieves this element, which is then converted to string. The resulting string is split once again using the comma as a separator. The resulting array of strings contains the bookstore names, each stored as an individual element. As the last step, we convert the array to a list. Okay, it looks good. The last step is to print the message to the output panel. To do that, we'll need one more string variable to store our processed message. Let's call it output string. We'll add another assign activity and call it assign output string. Then add output string inside the to field and write the expression inside the value field. First, the string.format method converts the value of objects to strings based on the specified formats and inserts them into another string. The next section is a text we want to print inside the output panel, followed by the arguments. The numbers between curly braces are format items. The number represents the index of the object whose string value will be inserted at that position. Let's not forget that indexes start at 0. The author variable is the first object and the second is the result of the string.join method. The string.join method concatenates the elements of a specified array or the members of a collection using the specified separator between each element or member. In our case, the collection is the list of strings and the separator consists of the comma character and VBCR. The VBCR constant moves to the next line, thus determining the following bookstore to be printed on a new line. Let's add a log message to output the value of output string. Finally, let's run the process to see how it works. Great, we can see the correct message in the output panel. With this, we conclude our demo on how to use string manipulation in UiPath Studio. To quickly sum up, we've built a process which extracts substrings from an input string, stores them in separate variables, and outputs them in a different format. The methods that we've covered are split, substring, last index of, trim, toList, string.format, and string.join. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.